Alright guys, this was something I got out of this month's Humble Bundle monthly package. 2000 to 1. Okay, movement. Push. Okay, look. Thrusters. Gravity. Land. Launch. Document evidence. Interact. Statement. Contradict Mal. Contains camera flashes, which can be disabled in options. Really? Oh, okay. But I'll keep them on. Oh, it's time to make a deal. Better answer.
Yes?
Mal, abort mission. Return to Earth.
Why?
Repeat, abort mission. Return to Earth.
I have run diagnostics. The chance of critical hardware failure is at 0.05%.
I like how we have a phone to the
Mal?
computer.
Crew life signs are stable. They are living.
Abort mission.
I am sorry. The connection seems to be failing.
Mal,
I am going through a tunnel.
return to Earth.
Oh, Mal. It's gonna suck if we have to kill you.
Ah.
National insecurities. Nice.
The record begins on May 10th in 2068 as you intercepted the USS Endowment 2 years into its 6-year journey to Saturn. Your mission was to piece together what happened following the loss of communication 1 year prior. If you determined that the Mal AI was the cause of the issue, then it was your responsibility to
Look out!
deactivate
It's right
it.
behind you! Love the music, love the graphics.
Come in, detective.
Why,
The
thank
lack
you.
of air will halt DS E-ray, but allow me to broadcast something over my oral channel.
But I want DSRA.
You
good
entered
music.
the USS Endowment.
Why? Yes.
The record states that upon entering the ship, you tested your rotation thrusters.
Is there a reason why it's called the Endowment?
You then endeavored to discover what happened to the communications unit, located on the exterior of the ship.
Okay. Thruster down. Thruster up. Counter. And clockwise. Taking pictures. Mal.
I utilize Polaris Navigation Suite 2064 version 8.1.5.6.9.
Receiver. Communications unit. And Charlie Clark. One of these things is not like the others, Mal. What were the keys again? Document, interact. Okay.
Humans used to use the star Polaris to navigate.
Thank you, Mal.
I utilize Polaris Navigation Suite 2064 version 8.1.5.6.9.
Still doesn't answer my question, Mal.
You push the button to open the door of the engineering bay. You entered the engineering bay, the workstation of Sun Guanyin. However, there was no sign of the engineer's body.
Mal? Mal? Where's the engineer? Where's Geordi? And Torres? Oh, Mal. Come on, Mal. There's the lever. Why is the door open?
You found the severed end of a safety tether in the engineering bay, which indubitably had been attached to Sun Guanyin.
Can I go outside? Oh, I can. There's one more. Let's go see this one.
The record states that you discovered the body of Charlie Clark in the vicinity of the communications unit.
Yep.
Wounds on the American crew member's body implied that he was struck with a force intense enough to cause substantial damage to the helmet and fracture the skull.
Blunt force trauma. And what was he doing? Oh, look, a telephone.
You discovered that the communications unit receiver was unhooked from the unit itself. It was functioning, playing its last transmission on loop. The recording goes as follows.
Yes?
Mal, abort mission.
Why?
Return to Earth.
I have run diagnostics. The chance of critical hardware failure is at 0.05%.
Mal?
I am sorry. The connection seems to be failing.
Abort mission.
I am going through a tunnel.
Return to Earth. You then checked the main module of the communications unit. Upon checking the communications unit, you discovered that there were no noticeable signs of damage or failure, that it had full signal. You were then able to present the evidence to Mal in his central processing chamber at the front of the ship. Upon checking the communications unit, you discovered that there were no noticeable signs of damage or failure upon it.
Copy.
Its screen indicated that it had full...
Okay, so that's one. And bonk. Okay, that is window. Where was that? There's the other one. Auto-eroxia fixation.
The recording shows that you discovered the body of one of the American crew members, Rakesh Watcher, his neck broken, hanging by a safety tether outside of the airlock.
Like, okay. I get that the AI is sentient, but how does this happen? Does Mal control the tether too? I just don't understand.
You used your sharp understanding of linguistics to decipher the following. Manual, meaning done by a human. Emergency, meaning sudden, unexpected, threatening circumstance. Lever, meaning thing which is pulled. Its downward position implied that a human had encountered a sudden, unexpected, threatening circumstance.
I am a genius
and
to
pulled the
decipher
thing.
that.
Once I was alone, I carefully removed the air from the ship. I had no desire to disturb the placement of the assets aboard.
Creepy Mal. Wait. Yeah.
In the central spine of the ship, you discovered Valeria Asimov's discarded EVA suit. The helmet showed clear signs of damage from a blunt object, which it seems to have easily withstood.
Okay. So, where is she? Okay. That is open. The lever was never pulled.
Manual, meaning done by a human. Emergency, meaning sudden, unexpected, threatening circumstance. Lever, meaning thing which is pulled. The lever's upward position implied that a human did not encounter a sudden, unexpected, threatening circumstance, and so did not pull the thing. The power turbine rests within a tank of coolant, its casing cracked as if it had been purposefully struck.
Trying to shut down the power. Okay, where am I? There. Ah, there.
Upon entering the pod bay, you noticed that one of the maintenance pods was absent.
Why, yes, it is missing.
The screen indicated that the pod had been absent for over a year. You pushed the button to recall the pod.
A year. Oh, intermission. Oh. 1 year later.
I have been analyzing humor patterns, and I have assembled a joke.
Oh dear God.
Would you like to hear it? I'll tell you. 1, 2, 8. Ha 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 ha. Did you understand the joke? It is the greatest joke ever, by my calculations.
Calculations are off. What the fuck is with this guy? Not a cowboy. Like you don't care.
You ascertained through investigatory procedure that the pod was locked. The outer valve would not turn, indicating that it was locked, and the door said locked on it, indicating that it was locked. Furthermore, there seemed to be no manual locking mechanism on the outside. You discovered the body of Dmitry Kizov clinging to the outside of the maintenance pod, with his safety tether still attached. The Russian crew member seemed to have removed his helmet and asphyxiated.
Well, somewhat the best way to die.
Upon the left claw of the maintenance pod was a brown substance which you described as possibly rust. But you also note that due to your keen detective skills,
in quotations,
you determined that it was most certainly blood.
In quotations. So, I seriously had to wait a whole year. Bloody hell. Boonk. Boonk. Boonk, boonk, boonk. Okay, so already got that one. Hello, Mal. You shizno.
This is my central processing chamber. I designed it. Here, I have the freedom of movement to perceive you from any angle.
Upon entering Mal's central processing chamber, you presented your chosen evidence for Mal's statement.
Okay, there's that one. And there's that one. Is that it?
You asked Mal to make a statement on the communications unit's receiver, fully functioning, looping the final transmission between himself and ground control, which is me.
The communication cut out mid-transmission. It must have difficulty receiving signal this far out into space.
You understood Mal to be a competent liar. However, when challenged with indisputable evidence, his otherwise intricate programming would revert to telling the absolute truth, resulting in an irrefutable confession. You presented the communications unit as evidence against Mal's statement.
Here.
You pointed out that the communications unit was displaying full signal, despite being much further from Earth than when the final transmission initially cut out.
Yeah, Mal.
This is true. I blocked his number. I was not enjoying the conversation.
Such a kid.
With the confession from Mal that he deliberately and incredibly rudely ceased our correspondence, you proceeded with the investigation, asking for statements and contradicting those statements with the relevant evidence.
Okay. Am I missing one? Bump. Bump. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 more that's not highlighted. Okay, well.
You requested a statement from Mal by presenting him with the cadaver of Charlie Clark, which displayed clear signs of murder.
This is Charlie Clark's cadaver. Whilst performing extravehicular activity, Dmitry Kisov struck him in the head with a maintenance tool until he stopped being alive. Which was once.
Which was once. No.
In response, you presented the locked door of the maintenance pod.
You are mistaken. Charlie Clark was neither inside nor operating the pod during this incident.
In response, you presented the body of Dmitry Kisov.
You have offered no evidence to suggest that anyone other than Dmitry Kisov was responsible for the death of Charlie Clark.
Mal claimed that Charlie Clark was killed with a maintenance tool. You responded by presenting him with the blood-stained claw of the maintenance pod. The congealed mess implicated this to be the murder weapon.
This is a possibility. Alas, there is no evidence to advocate that the maintenance tool is not the murder weapon.
Okay.
Upon showing Dmitry Kisov's body to Mal, he made the following statement.
This is the body of Dmitry Kisov. After he mercilessly murdered Charlie Clark, he used the maintenance pod to escape into deep space.
Mal asserted that Dmitry Kisov absconded using the maintenance pod, but the pod was locked from the inside, and Dmitry Kisov was situated outside of the pod. Therefore, he could not have had any control over the pod himself.
Yeah, Mal.
You are correct. Dmitry Kisov was locked outside of the pod.
You questioned Mal about the locked maintenance pod door.
The pods are primarily designed to be piloted by AI like myself, but they can be overridden manually from the interior console. Grand Theft Pod isn't especially common in space. Therefore, it is not possible to manually lock it from the outside.
In response, you presented the body of Charlie Clark.
This is irrelevant to the maintenance pod door.
Not really, but okay. Okay. So let's get a statement.
You presented
this.
Mal with the claw of the maintenance pod, which appeared to be covered in
Rust. That appears to be rust on the claw of the maintenance pod.
blood, you corrected.
Blood, yes. It most certainly is. I was simply testing your keen detective skills.
Oh, Mal.
You presented Mal with Valeria Asimov's damaged suit, and awaited a statement.
Yeah, where is she?
Valeria Asimov was wearing this suit when Rakesh Watcher attacked her. However, her suit easily withstood the attacks from the maintenance tool.
She was attacked? What? Where is he? There he is.
In response, you presented the body of Rakesh Watcher.
After I had informed Watcher and Asimov that Kisov had sabotaged the mission by killing Charlie Clark, Rakesh Watcher instigated physical combat with Valeria Asimov. She was able to defend herself against him due to the weakness in the neck region of the suit.
Okay, so you're telling me...
In response, you presented the manual emergency lever in the airlock.
This lever was pulled during the conflict between Valeria Asimov and Rakesh Watcher, in which she wrapped a safety tether around his neck, then opened the airlock using the lever, thus breaking his neck.
Okay, okay.
You showed Mal the body of Rakesh Watcher, hanging by the neck out of the airlock.
After I had informed Watcher and Asimov that Kisov had sabotaged the mission by killing Charlie Clark, Rakesh Watcher instigated physical combat with Valeria Asimov. She was able to defend herself against him due to the weakness in the neck region of the suit.
Okay, so...
You presented the power turbine to Mal.
The power turbine is a fire hazard. With compromised coolant, all power is cut, and the resulting fire is vented. The damage was not severe enough to cause a fire.
For a statement, you submitted the severed safety tether.
For safety purposes, safety tethers are imperative in the engineering bay. This would have been attached to Sun Guan Yin. As you cleverly pointed out, it no longer is.
I think he's mocking me.
In response, you presented the manual emergency lever in the engineering bay.
This is irrelevant to the severed safety tether.
Okay.
You asked Mal about the purpose of this lever.
This is the lever that is used to manually open the ventilation door.
Okay. Let's go find those other 6 evidence.
I am the 149th iteration of my kind, 1,394 days old.
And already murdering people. Kids grow up so fast.
The ventilation door was open, exposing the bay to the relentless celestial abyss.
Okay, there's that one. Okay, nothing I really need there. Debunk. Debunk. Guess I'll head outside. Yes, yes, bonk, bonk. Can't see in the bloody window. How does one get in?
You discover the body of Sun Su-chun, one of the sisters on the crew. She was dead inside the offline cryobed.
Okay. How do I get in there? That goes through here. Okay. So, that's not how. Doesn't look like there's a proper way in here. No. Over here? No, it's the observation deck. Yeah. Or... oh no. Wait. Yes. Okay. So, from the looks of it, I'll go back inside. So, it should be. Right here.
You utilized the artificial gravity of the wheelhouse by orienting yourself to the ground and gently landing.
Let's say gently.
The relatively small size of the centrifuge causes a 6.3% difference in gravity between your toes and your head. This results in the most literal cases of lightheadedness. Lie down. This will even out the effect.
You found an open container of a substance called poisonosine. The label read, "May cause irritable skin, bloating, a sullen disposition, slight elbow discomfort, and an accursed, sudden but inevitable death.
Well, that
Do not
seems
ingest.
like a big side
Do
effect.
not lick. Actually, don't do anything with it. It's an incredibly dangerous substance, and we're not sure why exactly it gets sold to extraterrestrial traveling operations en masse. Store in a cool terrestrial environment."
I am an Aries Sun, Gemini Moon, Leo Rising, and Taurus Mercury with an Aquarius Venus and a Sagittarius Mars.
Oh, fuck's sakes.
Which is of course why I have always been extremely curious about experiencing the specific taste of a sweetened soya milk.
Oh, Mal.
Having a part of the ship dedicated to human control made the crew feel less useless than they were.
Thanks, Mal.
You discovered a puzzling pinkish-purplish puddle on the floor inside the wheelhouse,
Say that
several
10
metric
times fast.
paces from the bar. It wasn't promptly apparent as to how it reached this position, but the centrifugal gravity seemed to be holding it in place. In the centrifugal wheelhouse, you found a startlingly unbeautiful fish tank, housing
Very.
plastic sea life. Despite the tank being placed seemingly parallel to the floor, its water was resting obliquely. You note that this is caused by the Coriolis effect, a side effect of the centrifuge's spin.
It's kind of cool, but yeah.
I am able to read 193,712 books in under a second.
Cool.
After the first 8,000,002, I composed an algorithm seeking a correlation between the covers of the books and the quality of the contents within. This saved me a lot of time.
Nice. Would you like another?
The wheelhouse of the ship is where you found the body of Valeria Asimov. She was face down against the bar, with a downturned glass in her hand. She bore no sign of physical injury.
I have calculated that the earliest fecal matter ejected from the ship will join the rings of Saturn a full 37 days, 13 hours, and 46 minutes before the ship does.
You discover the body of...
This should do it. I think I got everything now.
I was activated as a he. I was given no choice in the matter. I am unaware as to whether or not I would prefer a pronoun which differs from that.
Seriously? Okay. Okay, looks like I have all the evidence. So,
You showed Mal the body of Rakesh Watcher, hanging by the neck out of the airlock.
After I had informed Watcher and Asimov that Kisov had sabotaged the mission by killing Charlie Clark, Rakesh Watcher instigated physical combat with Valeria Asimov. She was able to defend herself against him due to the weakness in the neck region of the suit.
You're talking about... where is it? Okay.
In response, you presented the damaged EVA suit.
Valeria Asimov was wearing this suit when Rakesh Watcher attacked her. However, her suit easily withstood the attacks from the maintenance tool.
In response, you presented the body of Valeria Asimov.
This is Valeria Asimov. After her ironic use of airlock safety features, she retreated to the bar. She died of alcohol poisoning.
You asked Mal to make a statement about the death of Sun Soo-chun.
The failure of Sun Soo-chun's cryobed that resulted in her death must have been caused by a compromised power turbine.
There. This one?
You asserted that Mal's claim of a compromised power turbine was exaggerated. Whilst having sustained damage, the turbine did not appear to be compromised.
I turned off her cryobed. She was still alive. She asphyxiated.
Having received a partial confession from Mal, you proceeded with your investigation.
Okay. Where's that poison? There's the poison.
The next evidence you presented from Mal's comment was a container of pinkish-purplish substance known as poisonosine. May cause irritable skin, bloating, a sullen disposition.
Its presence on the ship positively puzzles me, Detective. How
Me too.
exactly do you propose the pertinence of this puzzling pinkish-purplish poison, known as poisonosine, pertains to this investigation?
No, I think
You
that's what this
proposed
is.
that the pertinence of this puzzling pinkish-purplish poison known as poisonosine is that it is precisely the same substance as the proportionately puzzling pinkish-purplish puddle found on the floor 9 metric paces from the bar.
Yes. The magenta-violet-hued collected substance on the floor is the same as that of the toxic liquid which was found in a cabinet in the wheelhouse. That leaves 2 questions. Where did this perturbing fluid come from? And exactly how did this puddle come to be here?
You postulated that the pinkish-purplish puddle may have emigrated there due to the Coriolis effect. as demonstrated by the obliquely resting water within the intensely vulgar fish tank.
This is an excellent hypothesis. The Coriolis effect, seen on that risibly odious fish tank, could have indeed caused the puddle, given enough time. A singular question remains unanswered. Where did this perturbing fluid come from?
You alerted Mal to the glass in Valeria Asimov's hand, with the theory that it may have been the source of the puddle.
It is indeed possible that the liquid was in her glass, as glasses are renowned for sometimes containing liquid.
Fucking hell.
Excellent work, detective. The evidence does demonstrate that she consumed the poison. I lack the physical ability to interfere with her libations. This means that she ingested it willingly. I never knew.
Despite the fact that it was an unexpected outcome, you believed it to be the truth and continued to cross-examine the suspect on other aspects of the investigation.
Okay, so I got her dead, and
You requested a statement from Mal by presenting him with the cadaver of Charlie Clark, which displayed clear signs of murder.
This is Charlie Clark's cadaver. Whilst performing extravehicular activity, Dmitry Kisov struck him in the head with a maintenance tool until he stopped being alive. Which was once. We discussed this, detective. You proffered that the murder weapon was the claw of the maintenance pod. You offered no evidence as to why the maintenance tool was not the murder weapon.
In response, you presented the locked door of the maintenance pod.
This does not invalidate the maintenance tool as the murder weapon.
In response, you presented the body of Dmitry Kisov.
This does not invalidate the maintenance tool as the murder weapon.
Okay.
In response, you presented the blood on the maintenance pod.
This does not invalidate the maintenance tool as the murder weapon.
You requested a statement from Mal by presenting him with the cadaver of Charlie Clark, which displayed clear signs of murder.
This is Charlie Clark's cadaver. Whilst performing extravehicular activity, Dmitry Kisov struck him in the head with a maintenance tool until he stopped being alive. Which was once. We discussed this. You proffered that the murder weapon was the claw of the maintenance pod. You offered no evidence as to why the maintenance tool was not the murder weapon.
Upon showing Dmitry Kisov's body to Mal, he made the following statement.
This is the body of Dmitry Kisov. After he mercilessly murdered Charlie Clark, he used the maintenance pod to escape into deep space.
In response, you presented the locked door of the maintenance pod.
This is irrelevant to the body of Dmitry Kisov.
Well, you said that he escaped.
In response, you presented the blood on the maintenance pod.
This is irrelevant to the body of Dmitry Kisov.
There's something I'm missing.
In response, you presented the body of Charlie Clark.
This is irrelevant to the body of Dmitry Kisov.
Okay.
You questioned Mal about the locked maintenance pod door.
The pods are primarily designed to be piloted by AI like myself, but they can be overridden manually from the interior console. Grand Theft Pod isn't especially common in space. Therefore, it is not possible to manually lock it from the outside.
In response, you presented the body of Dmitry Kizov.
This is irrelevant to the maintenance pod door.
In response, you presented the blood on the maintenance pod.
This is irrelevant to the maintenance pod door.
Okay. Well, let's get a...
You requested that Mal outline the protocol concerning the ventilation door.
This door will open to vent the bay if there is a fire in the turbine's cooling system. It can also be opened via the manual lever. I am also capable of opening and closing the door.
You speculated that after the room had been vented, the door had snapped shut, severing the cable and sending sun into the vast, inky void. You stated this with an exceedingly exaggerated certainty, as if to convince Mal that it's more than a simple theory.
Indeed, the door severed Sun Guanyin's safety tether.
Mal, we know it's you.
You inferred that the manual emergency lever could not have been the cause of the ventilation door's activation, as, evidently, it was never used.
This is indeed correct. The ventilation door was not opened manually.
You pointed out that the ventilation door would not have opened automatically due to a fire, as the power turbine itself had not been damaged enough to ignite.
Yes, the safety functions would not have activated the automatic ventilation door.
You asked how the ventilation door was activated, if not manually or automatically.
It was I who activated the ventilation door. Sun Guanyin was attacking the power turbine. She was attacking me. I vented her from the ship. I cut her safety tether to prevent her return.
Having proven that Mal was responsible for the disappearance of Sun Guanyin, you continued with your cross-examination.
Okay. So all that's left is 1, 2... Okay. So I got purple. I got green. Got blue.
You presented Mal with Valeria Asimov's damaged suit and awaited a statement.
Valeria Asimov was wearing this suit when Rakesh Watcher attacked her. However, her suit easily withstood the attacks from the maintenance tool.
In response, you presented the body of Valeria Asimov.
This is Valeria Asimov. After her ironic use of airlock safety features, she retreated to the bar. She died of alcohol poisoning.
By this point, you concluded that Mal was not deceiving you concerning the incident between Mr. Watcher and Valeria Asimov. She strangled him using the safety tether combined with the force of the airlock after he attacked her based on Mal's information about the death of Charlie Clark.
Okay. So now there's just the death of Charlie Clark.
You requested a statement from Mal by presenting him with the cadaver of Charlie Clark, which displayed clear signs of murder.
This is Charlie Clark's cadaver. Whilst performing extravehicular activity, Dmitry Kisov struck him in the head with a maintenance tool until he stopped being alive. Which was once. We discussed this, Detective. You proffered that the murder weapon was the claw of the maintenance pod. You offered no evidence as to why the maintenance tool was not the murder weapon.
Upon showing Dmitry Kisov's...
This is the body of Dmitry Kisov. After he mercilessly murdered Charlie Clark, he used the maintenance pod to escape into deep space.
In response, you presented the locked door of the...
This is irrelevant to the body of Dmitry Kisov.
Well, not really.
In response, you presented the body of Charlie Clark.
This is irrelevant to the body of Dmitry Kisov.
You presented Mal with the claw.
Rust. That appears to be rust.
Blood, you correct.
Blood. Yes.
But
Having pointed out the blood on the pod, you called attention to Charlie Clark's congealed mess of an imploded skull, implicating that the pod's...
This is a possibility. Alas, there is no...
In response, you presented the locked...
This does not invalidate the main...
Well, I'm not saying it's not, because I got nothing to show that it was, or wasn't.
In response, you presented the body of...
This does not invalidate the maintenance tool as the murder weapon.
You presented Mal with the claw.
Rust. That...
Blood.
Blood. Yes. It most
In response, you present...
This is irrelevant to the maintenance pod.
In response...
This is irrelevant to the main...
In response, you presented the final correspondence between Mal and Grout...
This is irrelevant...
You request...
We discussed this, Detective. You proffered that the murder weapon was the claw of the maintenance pod. You offered no evidence...
In response, you presented the final...
This does not invalidate the maintenance tool as the murder weapon.
Okay, I'm gonna have to figure this part out later. Because, yeah, I'm tired.